Welcome to Moons and Meridians. In today's practice, we'll be synchronizing with the new moon in Aries. Before we begin, take a moment to make sure that you have the following props available: a yoga mat, a bolster, and one blanket. Please take a moment to grab these items, and we'll meet back on the mat shortly. Welcome, yogis. In today's practice, we'll begin seated. You might find that sitting on a blanket is helpful for your low back or your knees. So go ahead and grab your blanket and fold it if you're feeling extra curvy in your low back or any sensitivity. And again, we'll begin seated. To begin our practice today, we're going to do a meridian tracing. And this is going to just bring some awareness to the different points in this channel so that you're aware of the energy line as we move through our practice today. And this also is an opportunity to clear any energy and help to balance and restore this particular meridian. So in Aries, the associated meridian is the lung. And lung channel starts on the chest and it moves down the arm and it ends on the thumb. Same thing on the second side, the chest, down the arm, and the thumb. And this one we can move point by point. There's 11 points on this channel. And to begin, you can take your hand just underneath your collarbone and the inside of your shoulder where there's like a little divot in here. Now keep in mind whenever you're working with finding acupressure points or acupuncture points that it's totally okay if you don't find the exact spot. What you'd want to be looking for is increased sensation because the points generally have a different sensation because they intervene with nerves. So lung 1 and 2 stack on top of each other. So lung 1 is below lung 2. So once you find that little divot, you'll find your collarbone and you're going to move about 1 thumb width below that. Now I like to just kind of move around a little bit and notice where I feel a different kind of sensation. And usually that sensation is just a little bit more sensitive. So I'm just going to do a little bit of circular movement here. We'll take a deep breath to clear lung 1. And exhale. Moving up just below the collarbone, we have lung 2. We'll create some movement through circular massage or acupressure. And we'll take a deep breath here. And exhale. Now we'll open up our palm and we'll do some tapping. Rotate your palm to face the sky and then we'll start to tap the shoulder, then down through the bicep, where we move through lung 3 and 4. Let's take a deep breath here. And then we'll pause the tapping and bend the elbow, and you'll take your thumb, finding the bicep tendon just at the crease of the elbow, and you'll come to the outside of that, more on the thumb side, and start to feel in that divot for any stronger sensation that likely be your lung 5 point. So I like to use my thumb and dig in and just find for what feels like a unique sensation. And we'll take a deep breath here in lung 5. This is a great point to clear any afflictions of the lung, so anything that would involve lung ailments, so coughing of any sort, pneumonia, bronchitis, things like that. Let's go ahead and start tapping again down the forearm. And this line ends on the thumb, so we want to emphasize more on the outside of the forearm, the thumb side. And once we get down to the wrist, we're going to find lung 7, and how we do that is we're going to shake our own hand. So my hands are like I'm shaking my own hand, and my index finger is going to reach for the bony knob that is on the outside of the wrist and just to the inside of that. And that's where you're going to find lung 7. So I will replace my thumb and just start to bring a little bit of pressure, and you can relax your arm. Bringing some pressure to lung 7 with a deep breath. And exhale. One thumb crease below that is lung 8. We'll take a deep breath here. And exhale. And then one thumb width below that, right where there's not much more room to move because of your wrist carpal bones, we'll find lung 9. We'll take a deep breath there. And exhale. These lower points of lung 7, 8, and 9 are good for neck tension, and these also help clear lung afflictions. So lung 10 is on the center of the thumb pad. We'll take the thumb and just start to create some circular movement here. This one can be very tender, especially if you have headaches. This is a point to help relieve certain headaches. And I've used it in my bodywork practice, and it's been successful at different times. We'll take a deep breath here. And exhale. The last point of this channel, lung 11, is on the bottom inside of where the corner of the nail bed meets your skin. It's best to use a little bit of nail here, which can feel kind of intense, to spark this point or get the energy moving. If it's too intense for you, you can just use your finger pad, and that's okay. We'll take a deep breath here. And exhale. Let's move to the second side. So finding your collarbone and the little divot in the inside of your shoulder. And just below your collarbone, you'll find lung 1. For me on this side, it's kind of sensitive, so it's pretty easy to find. We'll take a deep breath here. And exhale. And just below that, right underneath the collarbone, we have lung 2. We'll take a deep breath here. And exhale. And then open up your thumb and we'll tap through the bicep. Let your palm face up. Bring some energy to lung 3 and 4. Deep breath here. And exhale, let it go. And now bend your elbow and feel for your bicep tendon. And on the inside of that tendon, where it's the thumb side, that divot there, you're going to press into that point. Whatever pressure is workable for you today. And we'll take a deep breath into lung 5. And exhale. We'll pat down the forearm. Again, palm facing up, moving toward our thumb. And once we get to our wrist, it's like you're shaking your own hand, and your index finger is going to come to the inside of this tendon here, and there's like a little wrist bone that is pretty prominent. And then I'll replace my thumb, just kind of feel around. If it feels particularly tender, I'm probably on it. This is lung 7, and we'll take a deep breath here. And exhale. One thumb width below that, lung 8, deep breath in. And exhale. And one thumb width below that, right where the tissue meets the carpal bones, we'll take a deep breath there. Now we'll move to the thumb pad right in the center for lung 10. Feel your way into this. If it feels particularly tender, you can ease up on the pressure. And just think of balancing the energy. We'll take a deep breath here. And exhale, let it go. The last point is where the corner of the nail bed meets the skin, here on the inside of the thumb. And if you can use your nail bed, It's kind of like you're scratching it. You're just stimulating this point. This is lung 11. We'll take a deep breath here. And exhale, let it go. Go ahead and shake that out. If you're not used to using pressure with your thumbs, sometimes it might involve a little bit of cramping or something like that, so we'll shake it out. Now that we have energy moving through our lung meridians, let's take a moment to work with Prana Value. Each wind or Value is a movement, a direction of movement in the body that is intended to help with particular aspects of our energy flow. So for example, if we're feeling sluggish and withdrawn, Prana Value is the energy of upward moving prana. So it originates in our chest from our lungs and our heart. And when we work consciously with this direction, it has a lifting effect, not only of our energy, but often our posture as well. So we're going to work with Prana Value consciously just for the next few moments. So find a comfortable seat. And if it feels good to close your eyes, we'll just come to our center, taking a deep breath and feel the place just above your navel, calling in the whole of your energy here to the present moment. Deep breath in, and a full exhale to release. Now bring awareness to your lungs, your heart, and your chest. Take a deep breath, filling your lungs with chi and air. And exhale, let it go, open mouth, sigh. If you can breathe through your nose, that's ideal. If not, that's okay. Take a deep breath in and feel how your lungs and the prana moves up. And exhale, let it go. Deep breath into your lungs, filling them up. And exhale, let it go. A couple more times on your own, feeling this upward moving current from your lungs upward. Deep breath. Wherever you're at in your breath cycle, join me for one final conscious breath here. And exhale, let it go. Let's move into our first shape. Our first shape is actually a movement. So if you're sitting on a blanket, go ahead and move your blanket out of the way, and you want a clear runway for this movement. It's called rib rolling, and I learned this through my bodywork training. And the intention is to create extra mobility in your rib cage. If you think about it, if you have tension in your rib cage, or if you're in a chronic posture where your rib cage is sort of crunching in on your lungs, it's going to make it a little more difficult for your breath capacity to be fluid and in flow. So this is to help free that space up a little bit. So to do this, you'll come onto your back. And feel free to watch this before you actually come onto your back if you're a visual person. So you're going to open your arms into a T. Now we're going to be rolling side to side. Your knees are going to be bent, your feet on the earth. You'll take a deep breath here. And as you exhale, start to roll over to one side. You can pick your feet up in kind of like a fetal position. And take your opposite hand and just trace the lung meridian. And you'll extend your top hand away from your bottom hand. Exhaling your breath. Trace back up through the meridian line. And we'll do the same thing the second side. Roll over. Trace the meridian. Your hand reaches past your thumb. We'll do this a couple of times as you inhale, as you roll, and exhale to release. Inhale as you roll back to center. Exhale, release the second side. Your neck should be relaxed. Think of freeing your breath. You can play with moving your arms up if that feels good for you. Inhale to center. Exhale to the opposite side. Again, we're working with clearing, cleansing the lung channel. Notice if you can feel any movement or changes happening, any perhaps relaxation, maybe little subtle adjustments. We'll do just one more each side. And go at your own pace. Follow your breath. Good. We'll come back to center. And for this next shape, again, you won't need any props. You'll just start on your back. And we'll move into Banana Asana. So for this shape, you'll extend your legs long on the mat. And then your arms are going to reach up overhead. Make sure you have space for that. We'll take a deep, full body inhale here. And exhale. Start by walking your feet to the right corner of your mat. And if you notice your hips start rolling over to the right or tilting, you can just pick your hips up and then readjust them so that you're a little bit more leveled out in your hips. Once you find an edge, usually felt in the corner of your upper hip, just where it meets your abdomen, this is the psoas area. Then you can start to arc your upper body over to the right as well, coming into a half moon shape. Take your time coming into this shape. Once you feel that you've met your safe edge here at the beginning of this shape, you can start to settle into stillness. To deepen this shape, or perhaps change the sensation, you can consider crossing your left ankle over your right if it's workable. If it takes you beyond a place that you can relax for a period of time, then don't do it. Find your edge, commit to stillness, and breathe. Find a rhythmic breath where you can explore the space of your body that feels like it's getting stretched with your breath. As you reach the apex of your breath, this is often where we feel the most sensation. Notice if your breath contracts when you get to this point, or if your body contracts. Just notice how your body responds, and continue to invite in breath and invite in non-resistance. As you settle into stillness, breathing into these spaces, you begin to create space within your body, within your mind, and your whole energy field. It can almost be felt as a sense of pause from what might be a normal experience of a lot of stimulus. Rather than processing a lot of information all at once, all the time, you just focus on the present moment. And the more you feel the interaction of your breath with these spaces, the more embodied you become. The more you allow yourself to feel what's there without resistance, the more you invite in healing. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Take a final breath here on this side. And then exhale to let it go. Start to walk yourself back to neutral, and you can do this either by walking your upper body back to the midline or your lower body. You can check in and see what's best for you today. Get a sense of where the midline is, and if you would benefit from a little knee to the chest, a little balance and centering, feel free to take a breath here. And then exhale, extend it out, and we'll move to the second side. Hands come overhead. This time your feet will walk to the left corner of your mat. If you notice any rolling of your hips, just pick your hips up and level them out. When you're ready, start to arc over to the left corner of your mat. And if it suits you today on this side, you can explore crossing your right ankle over your left. Find your workable edge. Not too much sensation, but not too little. And then commit to being here in stillness. Take a deep breath. And exhale, let it go. As we cleanse and purify and rebalance our lung energy, this helps us work with the energetic channel that's amplified during this new moon. It's specific to this time, and the channels related to the moons are different than the channels related to the seasons. But here, as we focus on the lung channel, under this new moon in Aries, where there's extra energy and extra influence of the qualities of Aries, we can allow ourselves to shift in a place of more balance in relationship to it. Deep breath here. And exhale. Aries is known for being initiative energy. It's the first zodiac sign of all 12. Aries is considered to be the ruler of new beginnings. And in this time, you might find there's a particular area of your life that is asking for maybe a new way of doing things, of seeing things, a new way of being. Take a deep breath and reflect on where this might land for you. And exhale. Continue to breathe on your own. As you fill your lungs with prana, feeling to the edge of the sensation, and practicing non-resistance. If you notice a space that you feel resistance in your breath or your body, just bring your awareness, your presence and compassion to this space. And just invite in the fullness of your breath. And then let it dissolve. Take just one more deep breath on this side. And exhale, let it go. To come out, you can walk your feet and upper body back in whatever order is workable for you today. Come back to the center line and bend both knees, feet flat on the ground. You can lift your hips up and reposition your pelvis if that feels good. And then clasp your fingers underneath your kneecaps and draw your knees toward your chest any amount. Take a deep breath here with your shoulders relaxed. And let it go. Good. From here, let your feet find your way back to the earth, and we'll roll onto our stomachs, so we'll be face down, and here again you will not need any props. So however it is most comfortable for you to find your way, face down, we'll move in that direction. We're going to come into a shape called Sphinx. If your toes are touching or your feet are close together, let them space apart and just rock your hips side to side, just freeing your low back and giving space for your low body here to just be with as little tension as necessary. And then walk your elbows underneath your shoulders, and your palms are going to be on the ground with your fingertips pointing toward the top of your mat. This is Sphinx. There's going to be a slight activation of drawing your elbows toward your low ribs here. And as you do that, notice how this not only draws shoulder blades onto your back, But there innately is a lifting of your chest, and now let your gaze look just above the top of your mat. If your glutes have started clenching, see if you can relax your glutes so they're not squeezing your sacrum. This is a very gentle strengthener to open the chest. And this particular shape allows us to work with the Prana Value. Feel into the space in your chest, your heart center, and take a deep breath here. And then exhale, let it go. Down and out. Again, think of Prana Value, this upward moving energy from the center of your chest upward. And exhale, let it go. Another breath. One more breath here. And exhale, let it go. Relax the front of your throat, the back of your neck, and continue this slight activation of dragging your elbows toward the lower parts of your ribs. If there's shaking in your arms or your hands, that's okay. This is clearing some energy. Again, relax your hips. And take another deep breath. And exhale, let it go. Now you can either stay here in Sphinx for 3 more breaths, or if you'd like to join me in trying Seal, what that shape looks like is you're going to widen your hands probably off of your mat, and your fingertips are going to rotate slightly outward. You're going to draw your elbows in, and you're going to press down and forward through your palms and lift your chest even higher. So your hands are wide to give space for opening in your chest along your collarbones. If this brings way too much sensation to your low back or any pinching, or if your body just doesn't feel like it can relax in this shape, then come back down to Sphinx. Find your workable edge and your shape, and meet me in 3 breaths here. Deep breath in. Full exhale. Little effort is necessary. Deep breath. Full exhale. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Come down onto the earth and let your head turn to your right side. And now bend your right knee toward your right elbow. If your hips feel rolled, start to slide your right knee forward so that as much of your belly can be on the ground. Just find a comfortable position here. This is called Hug the Earth. It's a little bit of a counter pose to the efforts of Sphinx and Seal. Here I'm going to invite you to take 3 deep breaths into the back of your lungs. Inhale. Exhale. Inhaling pure chi through the lungs. As you exhale carbon dioxide from the blood. Last time, deep inhale. And exhale, let it go. Before moving into the next shape, go ahead and find your bolster or blanket. You can use your blanket as a bolster and just set it to the right side of your mat so that it's accessible. We'll come back down to hug the earth. And now you're going to extend your left arm out to the side with your palm facing down. It's going to look like this on the opposite side. So the arm's straight, and you'll kickstand your right fingers and start to roll over to your left side. Your knees will come together in what's like a fetal position. And you're going to bring your awareness to the front of your shoulder, right about where lung 1 and lung 2 point is. You may feel some sensation into your bicep and maybe even other areas of your shoulder. If you have a lot going on, sometimes this can actually also send a nervy sensation into your hands. If you're not feeling much sensation, you can start to walk your hand up toward the upper corner of your mat, and this will start to change the sensation. The more you're rolled toward the earth, the less sensation you'll feel. So this is where your bolster might come in handy, is if you hug the bolster between your knees, this can just kind of help stack your hips into a little bit more of alignment. This is helpful for your spine. And really sort of emphasize where the sensation is in this shape. If it's too much sensation or you're feeling any nerviness, walk your hand down toward the bottom of your mat, and this is going to take you out of sensation. Find a workable edge. If you have any shoulder injuries or any history of shoulder dislocation, this particular shape you're not going to want to go too deep into. We can always just think of working it energetically, even if we don't feel physical sensation. Find your safe edge, and then find your breath. Because this shape most likely highlights the line of energy that we worked in the meridian tracing and tapping, this is a good time to connect your breath to this channel through the sensation that you feel. Just filling up your lungs and tracing the channel in your mind's eye as you inhale fully. And then exhale, let it go. Do this a couple more times for about a minute on your own. Find your breath and release into stillness. Relax your body, your head, your jaw, your forehead. And just allow for your whole body to receive breath. We'll take just one more deep breath here on this side. And then exhale to release. To come out of the shape, if you are using a bolster, you can just roll that off to the side. I like to brace my hand on the earth and just sort of roll slowly toward the earth, coming out of that stretch. And then we'll move into hug the earth on the second side. So bend your elbows as much as you'd like. Turn your head to the opposite side. And the direction that your head is turning, that's the knee that you're going to bend. Bend your knee toward your elbow. And if you're on the side of your hip, scoot your knee out toward the side and let as much of your hips balance on the earth. This is a More of a rejuvenating counter pose. Take 3 deep breaths into the back of your lungs. Inhale. Exhale. Notice if it feels easy to breathe into this space. Inhale. Or if it feels restricted in any way, exhale. Just being mindful of what is as it is without judgment. And just see if you can relax just a little bit more. Final breath in. And exhale. You can come up for a moment, and if you need to come out of Hug the Earth to do this, feel free to bring your prop over to the second side. And this time you're going to extend your opposite arm out and then kickstand your left fingertips to roll, this time over to your right side. So the more my hips are rolled forward, the less sensation I'm going to feel in my shoulder, right in that corner where the lung 1 and lung 2 space is. The higher my hand is, the more sensation I'll feel, and the lower my hand is, the less sensation. If I begin to stack my hips, this helps with spinal alignment, and the bolster is my prop to help me with that. So I'm kind of in this fetal position. So your left hand helps to support you from rolling forward. And just making any adjustments so that you can find your safe edge. Again, if you have any history of injury here, particularly of dislocation, you're going to want to be way back here. And that's okay. This is a way of honoring your body and not pushing it when it's recovering or just not. If it's too mobile, this particular stretch might bring you more into that mobility, and that's not what's needed here. If it feels nervy, walk your hands down slightly. And if you're not feeling enough sensation, walk your hands up. Find as little effort as necessary to be in this shape, and take a deep breath. Exhale, let it go. Visualize the line of the lung meridian as you breathe in, and just trace the line in your mind's eye, using your breath to clear and cleanse the channel. Where can you soften in your body? What areas of your body are wanting to experience a new beginning? Check in as you take a couple more breaths on this side. Wherever you're at in this shape, meet me for one final deep breath. Inhale. Exhale. If you're using a bolster, set that off to the side of your mat. Place your left hand on the earth and slowly, however necessary, come to your stomach. Cross your forearms and choose a side to let your head rest in Crocodile. You can let your hips rock side to side. And take one deep breath here. And a full exhale to release. Turn your head to the opposite side. Deep breath in. And exhale to release. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders and find your way into a tabletop position. With your knees underneath your hips and your palms underneath your shoulders, widen your fingertips, and we're going to do a couple of cat-cows here to stabilize your shoulder joints and just move breath and energy up and down the spine. On an inhale, you're going to drop your belly and let your tailbone and the crown of your head arc toward the sky. And then as you exhale, you'll round your spine. Let your belly button move up toward your spine and your chin toward your chest. Synchronizing movement with breath, inhaling, exhale. Inhale. Nice and slow, exhale. Last time, inhale. Exhale. In the next shape, we're going to start to walk our hands toward the top of our mat for what's called Anahatasana. So your hands are going to walk toward the top of your mat. Widen your hands so that your chest can start to melt between your shoulders and your forehead comes down to the earth. If your hands are too close together, this is going to kind of crunch your shoulders. So widen your hands just enough to give you space. Your hips are going to stay lifted. And the idea for this shape is to let your heart melt in gravity. If it feels awkward, know that this often feels awkward and that's okay. Make any adjustments so that you can be here for a bit of time. And then find your breath. You can feel the front, the sides, and the back of your lungs filling with breath in this shape. Inhale. Exhale. Become aware of all sides of your body and how your breath itself can bring your awareness to these sides in full spectrum. The wholeness of your being and your body and your breath. Inhale. Exhale. Relax your head, your jaw, any gripping of your lower body. And continue to take 3 more breaths here. Once you've completed your 3rd exhale, slowly walk your hands back underneath your shoulders and just take your time here. Walk very slowly and then press your hands into the earth, and we'll come into a seat. Move nice and slow. You can move your upper body around and just kind of wiggle in the new space that you've created thus far. Take a deep breath here. Exhale. Notice if you can sense the energetic rise of energy, that Prana Value. And our next shape, you may benefit from your bolster. You may also benefit from sitting on a blanket, since this shape is a seated shape. If you have extra rounding in your low back, feel free to sit on a blanket. This is a modified deer pose. So from here, you're gonna swing, and I'll mirror you. You'll swing your left leg, your left foot rather, behind your hip like this. It's okay if you're bending off to the side. From here, you can start with just your hand on the earth, and we'll see where you're at and if we need to bring in the bolster. Your right hand is going to be like a kickstand, and you'll start walking it off to the side, and then extend your left arm out to the side with your palm facing up. Now drop your right ear to your right shoulder, and then reach your left arm up and over to the right. You don't want to roll forward. This is going to feel like a lot of effort on your shoulders, so you want to find that point of alignment where you're using your right hand as a kickstand, but your bicep isn't overworking for you to be here. As you relax your neck and your shoulder, this is also going to be a little bit of a neck stretch. But this helps to give an opportunity to not only breathe into the sides of the lobes of the lungs, but also opening up the front of the body from that withdrawal posture, or the front of the body being a little closed off. Now, if you'd like, you can experiment with drawing this knee back, and this starts to open up the front of the hip here. Now, if you're good here, this is your shape for the day. If it feels like you can come down, you can either come all the way down to the ground, or again, this might be where your bolster can be a nice little prop. Just check in with your body and notice what feels best for you. Once you find the best version of this shape for you, we'll take a couple of deep breaths together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Continue to find your breath rhythm, working on releasing any resistance, any part of the body, and directing your breath to the sides of your lungs. A couple breaths here on your own. Meet me for one final deep breath here. And exhale. Start to release by rolling forward. Keep your neck where it's at as much as you can, rather than lifting your neck. It's good to roll forward and let your hands come on the earth to support you as you walk forward and come up, leaning over to your right side and swinging your left foot in front of you. Just do some shoulder rolls here for a decompression. Inhaling up and exhaled around a couple times like this. Now, just for clarification, as I encourage you to take deep breaths in all of these shapes, know that some of your breath might actually be more shallow than others, because as you expand your breath into the stretch, if there's a lot of tension, your breath is only going to expand so far. And that's kind of the point. It expands to your edge, and as long as you're not gripping or resisting, it starts to be able to move your edge so that your edge isn't this finite place where you're restricted there all the time. Your breath actually begins to create space for that expansion. So to move to the second side, you're going to swing your right foot behind you like this. And feel free to prop your hips up if necessary. Bolster is optional. We'll start with your left hand as a kickstand on the earth. And if you extend over to the side here, this is going to give you some space to work with your neck here. Now that you know where we're going, you are welcome now to start to walk your knee back, and you can explore that now or you can wait. And then rotate your right palm facing up with your arm extended, and then inhale, sweep your right arm up and over to the left. If you're rolled forward, it's going to feel like extra effort to hold yourself up. So rotate your bottom ribs forward so that they're essentially stacking below your upper ribs. Come down to your forearm if it's available and completely release your left ear to your left shoulder in gravity as much as is available. We'll take a couple of breaths together here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And again, on your own, find your breath and allow yourself to explore this shape with your breath, releasing all resistance. Relax your neck. And we'll meet together for one final breath on this side. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. To come out, now you can roll forward. And then let your hand find the ground. Let your chin roll to the midline. And as much as you can relax your neck here, just let your arms do the work to walk you back to the midline. And then you can swing your right leg back. We'll take a couple of breaths here. Bring your fingertips to your shoulders. And inhale them forward and up. And exhale, back and down. A couple times like this. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. free to bring a little intuitive movement into your neck also. And then we'll find our way into child's pose. Coming back into a tabletop position, you'll widen your knees. Your big toes will come to touch, and then your hands come in front of you like down dog or again anahatasana. And you can walk your hands forward. Again, let them be wide so that you're not cutting off the energy flow in your shoulders. Nice and wide, and just let your forehead come down to the earth. If for any reason coming into this version of child's pose is not available for your body today, you're welcome to try sitting your hips on a bolster and using that like this. And if it's better for you to bring your arms down to your sides, you're welcome to try that as well. Just find a version where you can be here with little to no effort. And as you find your shape, surrender into stillness. Take a moment to connect with the organs of your lungs. However that feels intuitive, just give yourself the opportunity to become present to these allies that bring in life force to the body. It's said that you are made of trillions and trillions of cells. Can you imagine if each and every one of those cells received pure life force energy 23,000 times a day? Even if that seems like a lofty goal, just know that your time here on your mat breathes wonders of healing and energetic currency to allow for your body to self-heal. Take a couple more deep breaths in quiet, just resting in this space with your lungs and with your breath. Wherever you're at in your breath cycle, take just one more deep breath here. And exhale, let it go. And slide your hands back underneath your shoulders, and use as little effort as necessary to come up. And we'll come onto your back. You may find it beneficial to have your bolster here. So you can set it off to the left side of your mat as you come onto your back. And we're going to complete in our last shape with a reclined twist. Now, we've been working with and talking about bringing energy into the body. We also must recognize that what comes in must go out. So as we draw in pure energy through our lungs, which enters into our bloodstream and is then filtered by the kidneys, we exhale carbon dioxide through the lungs as well, through the exhale. And so this is also not only respiration, bringing it in, but it's also perspiration and expelling or eliminating what's ready to release. So to come into this shape, you're going to let your arms relax down by your sides and then draw them out to the sides any amount. You can even be in a T if that feels good for your body. And then press your feet into the earth and pick your hips up, and then scoot them over to the right side of your mat. You'll extend your left leg long and then roll over onto your left side. Do whatever adjusting is necessary, maybe using your bolster as a prop to support your knee, to find your way into this reclined twist. So in this particular shape, we work with the other end of our breath, which is the exhale, equally important. There's often a lot of desire to take in and begin anew, but we have to consider that we can't always put things in and not take things out. We have to shed what we no longer need. Just like we see in nature with trees and their leaves, they go through the full spectrum of dormancy in the winter, new life sprouts and blooms through the spring, bearing fruit in the summer, harvesting in the fall, and then letting it all go back to the beginning of the cycle again. Our breath goes through the same cycle. Life and death. Think of this shape as a detox. So create space for what you're creating anew. Relax anything that's active or gripping, and find your rhythmic breath. Wherever you're at in your breath cycle, find one more deep, full breath. A nice, slow, and thorough exhale. To come out of the shape, bend your top knee and then roll onto your back. Nice and slow, no rushing. Just allow your body to unwind. When we hold these shapes for longer periods of time, they work with our plastic tissues, which is our connective tissues and fascia, and they need to move slow after we've stretched them. So we'll move the prop to the second side if you used one. We'll move to the second side. Open your arms wide. Pick your hips up and scoot them over to the left, and then straighten your right leg, giving space to now roll over on your right hip. Make any adjustments necessary, and I didn't mention this on the last side, but if you have a need to support your shoulder, you can take your blanket underneath your shoulder like this, and it can help with some extra support. So check it out and see if that's useful for you. And then once you find your shape, fully supported, and connect in to your breath, as you focus on your exhale, think of this as a spring cleaning. You continue to breathe in your own breath rhythm. Release any resistance. Relax your head, your jaw, your eyebrows, and breathe. Wherever you're at in your breath cycle, take one more deep breath. And a slow, and thorough exhale. To come out of the shape, bend your top knee and roll onto your back. And just slide your props off to the side for a moment. And here I'd like to invite you to take just a minute of Sahaja, which is intuitive movement. Just to give you a couple of options if you're not sure, you can widen your feet and let your knees come to touch and just rest here in a pause. You can also let your arms open to the side and let your knees fall to each side. You can pause on each side, or you can move in more of a windshield wiper fashion. Maybe happy baby feels nice here. Bring in some love into your hips. Just check in, and for the next minute, allow yourself to connect in intuitively with your body in a way that will leave you feeling complete in the movement portion of our practice. Wherever you're at, take one more deep breath. And exhale. We'll be moving into our final resting pose of Shavasana. If you have your props near you where you can remain grounded and can easily set yourself up, maybe with your bolster underneath your knees, feel free, or just roll to your side and allow yourself to use as little effort as necessary to set yourself up. A blanket over your body is nice to make sure that you can remain warm. Often being chilled in Shavasana can take you out of a deeper state of relaxation. So just check in with your environment and any other props that you like that just bring the best sense of relaxation for you in Shavasana. Grab those now and we'll meet in this final resting pose. Once you're here, begin to relax your toes, your feet, your legs, your knees. Relax your thighs, your hips. Feel your sacrum rooted into the earth. Your lower back relaxes, your abdomen, your mid-back, your lungs, your heart. Feel your upper back and your shoulders relax into the earth. Your arms and elbows, forearms and wrists, hands and fingers all relax. relax. Relax your throat, your jaw, your cheekbones, your ears, your forehead, and eyebrows. Let your tongue fall away from any pressure inside of your mouth as your teeth relax in their gums. Your lower jaw decompresses down toward the earth below you. As the back of your neck softens right at the base of your skull. Relax your eyelids. Feel or sense your eyes growing heavy in their sockets. A state of relaxation. We'll take one conscious breath. Deep inhale. And as you exhale, let your breath go and surrender completely into your Shavasana. Begin to bring your awareness back into your body through awareness of breath. Deep breath in. Full exhale to release. Reach your hands up overhead for a cat stretch. And just let yourself be intuitive and natural with your movements. And then roll over to whatever side is most available. And use as little effort as necessary to come into a seat of Sukhasana. Feel free to sit on any props if that's beneficial for you. Sit comfortably. What new moon intention are you setting for this cycle? And how might you uncover the energy and courage to initiate in new ways in your life and allow for new things to blossom? We'll bring our palms together in front of our hearts for Anjali Mudra. And I'll invite you to inhale as a gesture of gratitude for the life-giving medicine of your practice. Inhale. And exhale. We'll take a second breath in reverence to this new moon in Aries and for her wisdom, guidance, and energy. Inhale. And then let it go. And one last breath to acknowledge the deep well of wisdom and healing that lies within you. Inhale. And exhale to let it go. Please feel free to stay and linger longer if time permits. And I thank you for joining me in this practice of Moons and Meridians. Namaste.